Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. We've seen plenty of PowerPoints, and I've taken the Solihull Teach Meet at its basic value. And so it says on the front here, back to basics. So you've seen the PowerPoint, and I'm about to demonstrate for you the cardboard. This is a technique we used to use back in the day. So I hope you can all see that at the back. I'm going to basically talk about three things very quickly. One is something to think about. The next thing is about some lessons, and then the third thing is hopefully to reflect a little bit on how we make judgments about learning progress. And if you've read the rubric, you'll see about the work from an additional inspector's point of view. If I'd have remembered that was the title, then that's what it would have been. But this is from Mark Bailie's point of view. So the first thing is, really, I do believe that the learning that happens in classrooms is down to one thing and to one thing only, and it's down to the relationships that you build, that we build as teachers with the children in the classroom. And the diagram here is literally trying to demonstrate a principle where we take on a class in September. We may have not met the class before, and the top circle shows what I need from you to make this work. So we have a class of students, and I need from you certain inputs in order to make the learning successful. I need you, for example, to take part with enthusiasm. I need you to think. I need you to be actively engaged. I need you to listen. And the bottom circle shows what I get from you, which we will all know is not necessarily all of those things all of the time. And where the Venn diagram works is the blue area in the centre is the area where we've got the most productive learning happening, whereby the relationships developed over time between the teacher and between the students so that we can actually maximise the learning progress the children are making. So what we end up with, if things are going well, I'm not sure this shows this very well, but if things are going well, you move the bottom circle in an upward direction and you shrink the area in terms of what the students are giving to us. So we increase that area of overlap. So more of what we need to make learning happen, we get from the students. And if there's a challenge, and if that class is not making the progress, then over time, unfortunately, that's what we see. So whatever we need to make learning happening, we're getting less and less from the class. And of course, if we analyse that, it's often down to the quality of teaching, it can be down to the behaviours that the students are exhibiting, but there's a mismatch. And it's about finding the route through to that match, which is the most important thing in terms of the learning progress. So the next part is, I've got a couple of scenarios. And just to show I can use technology, I've noted them here on my iPhone. It's only a 4S, I'm afraid. So a couple of things. What is learning? There's various definitions if you go out there. The first one that I had was learning is acquiring new or modifying and reinforcing existing knowledge, behaviours, skills, values or preferences, and may involve synthesising different types of information. So for what it's worth, that's a definition of learning. So what do we look for? I'm going to give you an example of what I would think would be outstanding progress during a single lesson and perhaps across a series of lessons. So I want you to imagine a lesson on the preparation of human insulin. There must be some biologists in here as well. It's an A-level class. The teacher greets the class. They have had a homework set previously where the teacher has been able to collect it in prior to the lesson, and they've analysed the prior learning and understanding that those students have. So the starting point for that lesson, the starting point for that learning is different for groups of students within the class. They won't all be starting at the same point. So they start their task. And then as they go through, we can see that that prior knowledge has allowed them to make progress at different rates. So the first 10 minutes are used to address the task. The students then begin various activities that are designed to allow them to start at the point appropriate to their prior understanding. And the lesson is peppered with truffle moments, rich questioning. At a particular point in time, the teacher is focusing in on what is going to help that particular group of students move forward most quickly. And then, perhaps at some point during the lesson, we're going to move and pull everything together. But actually the key thing is, when you're looking at lessons where progress is being made rapidly, the assessment for learning is not an artificial tool. Very often, particularly during observations, we see people put lots and lots of effort into preparing lessons with lots of active learning strategies, but particularly lots of assessment for learning strategies. If it's working really well, and when we see it working really well, the assessment is embedded so far into that teaching, so far into the routines of that class, that it's almost unnoticeable, and the teacher's getting the information that they need. So this is an active lesson. The students are quick to congratulate their peers. Focused talk is a strong feature of what's going on, and you can see that from their starting points, there's a lot of progress made. The books are marked. Formative feedback allows a cyclical conversation to go on between the student and between the teacher, so that again we can see learning happening over time. And then another lesson, completely different lesson, looking at the First World War. We go in and we observe a group of students who are sitting in an environment that's not particularly exciting, it's not particularly engaging, but there is a teacher who is a subject expert. They are the fount of all knowledge for that particular topic. And what we see is a class of students who for 25, 30-minute periods of time are listening. That's all they're doing. They're listening. And they are transfixed by the teacher's information, by the teacher's knowledge. They're making progress. And I think the most reassuring thing that we can draw from the letter from Wiltshire to inspectors that's been widely publicised is that it doesn't matter about a particular style. Learning can happen. When learning happens, that's what we're looking for in our young people. Thank you very much.